everybody, and welcome back to the channel. It's your girl Lori, and we are going to talk about the data dump journal. Yes, I know I normally told you that sometimes I put, like, I just get whatever, because I am going to burn it. You do burn your data dump journal, but sometimes I know there's people, I know Stacy likes butterflies and I do too, but sometimes I like to have something pretty by the side of my bed. So your data dump journal stays by the side of your bed. Your negative journals can come with you, right? But your data dump journal stays by your bed. So the reason that I don't mind burning this when it gets full, right? Because you can look at it and say, oh my God, it's so pretty. Why would you burn it? Well, because that's what I'm doing. I'm not attached to it. I'm doing a whole podcast on unattachment. I like to wake up and go to bed with something pretty by my bed. Sometimes, not always. Sometimes I'll just have something, but if I wake up and I just have like a regular, like my negative journal, which is around there, by the way, but it's not by the end table, it's on my dresser. So if I need it, I can write in it upstairs so I don't have to go downstairs. But I like to have something pretty to wake up to and to go to bed to. So, but it will get burned. So the data dump journal, what is that? Well, you know, when you try to go to bed at like, I don't go to bed till late. Let's say midnight, 1 o'clock, whatever. And you go, okay, you're ready to go to bed, get in bed. Now your brain goes, remember that argument you had in 3rd grade? You know, don't you think you could have done something differently there? And you're like, are you kidding me right now? I'm just trying to go to bed. So this is your data dump, and this is going to take discipline on your part. Well, they're all going to take discipline, but this is really going to take discipline because, again, this is really where it doesn't matter how you feel. Like, you're going to have to do these things if you really want to make it to where you're not having those thoughts at 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning and you're ruminating on them. Okay. The data dump journal is where you're going to dump it. Keep the pen by your bed. Yes, I have a pretty pen by my bed because, again, I like to look at pretty things. So what I want you to do is when you're sitting down in bed, and let's say you just lay down, right? No social media an hour before bed, and do not grab your phone upon wakening. Okay, this is the first rule of thumb with going to sleep and getting quality sleep. Listen, people say don't have a TV in your bedroom, and there is truth to that. I do have a TV in my bedroom. I don't sit there and watch it right up to the hour, but sometimes if I'm crocheting in bed, I like background noise. I might glance up and look at it or look at whatever baking show there's on or what. It's not usually anything like deep. Sometimes it is, but not often. So before I go to bed, I know if I have a million things going on in my brain, like, okay, oh God, don't forget to do this tomorrow and da-da-da-da-da. It's not a task list. It's just a space to dump it. So you can write, you know, call the electric company, da-da-da, whatever you need to do. But then when you're like, man, I really got to make sure that, like, I'm a little worried about that test tomorrow or what I have to go to the doctor's for or the dentist. You know, I'm really worried about that. Okay. So now we have 2 things. You could either grab your negative journal to start processing things. Prefer you don't do that because now you're stimulating your brain, but you can have this in here. You're not going to go back to it, but in the morning, if you've used a little bit of it as a task list, look at what the tasks are and then just go to the next page. Because again, no need to go back to this. But when you're in your data dump journal, I'm really worried about this test that I have coming. Or, you know, it's like I just got my my mammogram thing that says, you know, make a mammogram once a year. You know, I do that yearly. So, you know, you go through those, you know, maybe tonight or the night before, I may be like, oh God, what if it's an unfavorable result? I'll just dump that down and be like, oh, you can't do anything about it. And I'll write, can't do anything about it. Like, it is what it is, right? So you just try to do the best you can with what you got. So you write that in there. At 3 o'clock in the morning, if you wake up, because sometimes you'll wake up, sometimes you can go to bed just fine, but you'll wake up in the middle of the night with these rapid thoughts, right? Do not lay in bed any longer than 20 minutes. And the moment your brain starts going crazy, why did this happen? What do I need to do? Just dump that down. You're not trying to process it right now. It's just dumping it. Okay, I'm thinking about Bob again, thinking about Bob again. Okay, can I do anything about it right now? I cannot, right? Pen to pad though, right? It's just a dumping ground. You can wake up tomorrow and if you're like, oh, okay, this is still in my head, but I was able to steal a few hours of sleep. Now we can start to process that in your negative journal. And now you realize why this Bob thing is bothering you so bad. And it's usually because you can't let things go because you feel wronged in some way and you want vindication and no, that's why that's there. It's not going to happen. But your data dump journal by your bed becomes your best friend. What you don't want to do is lay in bed and glance at the clock and be like, if I go to bed now, I'm going to be able to sleep 6 hours. Now you start thinking, okay, oh, and you got this great idea. And oh, I think I'm going to start this new business. It's not always negative. Good. Write it down in here. Oh, thinking about this new business. Always say to yourself, can I do anything about it right now? I cannot do anything about it right now. I am not thinking about that right now. That is a brain interrupter. It's a true on thing. Psychiatrists use this all over the place. Either the stop sign or I cannot control, or I am not thinking about that right now. And I cannot control this situation at this time. But it's good to write it down and get up out of bed. Literally, don't just sit up. Get up out of bed if you can't sleep past 20 minutes, either going to bed or once you've gone to sleep. If you wake up and you cannot go back to bed after 20 minutes, get up and go into another room. I don't care if you don't want to. All you're going to do is clock watch and you're going to keep saying, I got to go to sleep. Now you've created an unhealthy relationship with your sleeping habits. And every time that you think about going to bed, it gives you anxiety. And you get to bed and you go, well, it's not going to be another sleepless night. Of course it is, because A, that's what you've created now. So you get up, you dump whatever it is you're thinking about, and do not try to immediately go back to sleep. Don't. I don't care if you have 5 hours before you got to get up. Do something. I'll do my crochet. Do not turn on the TV. Do not go on social media. If you can't sleep at 3 o'clock in the morning, do not TikTok. Do not YouTube. Do not go on socials. Don't turn on the television. Either read a book, do some meditation, definitely write in your journal. Make sure that you put a puzzle together, whatever. The more you try to force yourself to sleep, the less sleep you're going to get, and you won't get quality sleep. So when it happens, you want your data dump journal by the bed. It becomes a priceless thing. So when I travel, right, for me, I like them all this size. Other than that big one stays here on my desk, but I have a little negative journal, well, several of them, but that will come with me on vacation. Because just because I'm on vacation doesn't mean I get to have a vacation from my journals. That's not serving my best and highest good. So your negative journal is a great place to process when you start saying, why am I triggered by this? Why am I fear? Why do you have the fear of death? Why do you worry about that? It's a good place for you to start to process it in that negative journal. This, however, becomes your best friend by your bed because those thoughts that come in your head don't need to be processed. That is not the time to process them. 1 o'clock in the morning is not the time to grab that negative journal and start processing all of this. All that does is stimulate it. This is a great place to dump it. And then in the morning, if you're like, again, I don't want you to go back and read what you had to do 3 days ago. You can go, oh, okay, yeah, I remember. Okay, I was going through this. Okay, I'm going to process why this is bothering me and keeping me up. Because you need to know why this is keeping you up in the first place. But you can't do that in that moment. So that is what your data dump journal is for. This thing does become a really good tool for you when you allow yourself to not worry about how you feel. And if you feel about doing it or you don't feel like doing it, I don't care. If you want to feel better to where you're not ruminating in those thoughts and having to worry about, oh yeah, I forgot that. Okay, cool. Say, call the dentist in the morning. Cool. You can literally look at that in the morning. No need to analyze it because it's not a place to process it. You go, oh, okay, I got to call the dentist first thing in this morning. So you do that. You write that down. You got all that done on your task list. Now you're able to process why Bob is on your head at 3 o'clock in the morning and why you can't let it go. No one cares that you can't let it go, and you're not winning any special awards. You're not doing yourself a favor by not forgiving people. Again, you don't have to rock with them. You're not doing yourself a favor. You don't get special brownie points. You're not preventing anything other than your own growth to be able to release it. So by letting things go, you guys want this like overnight thing. It's not going to happen. But it becomes a lot easier when you're doing these journals consistently and you're able to process your feelings. No one has to change for you. No one on the planet, and you don't have to change for other people. So you must accept that what is done is done. What could happen can't happen now. And so this gives you a space. And again, once the data dump journal is done, you're going to burn it. You're not going to go back through and read it. You don't need to. We don't need to rehash things. That's why you're going to do it as it is. And again, you may want something that isn't super pretty by your bed. I like something pretty because I don't want to wake up to something that, even though I know that this houses a lot of like gunk, I don't want to necessarily see that it houses a lot of gunk because then I'll be reminded of it. So I'd rather be reminded of something fun and positive. So yes, so that is your data dump journal. It becomes literally one of your best friends at bedtime, and you will find that you will dump less as you process more in the negative journal because there won't be as much for you to think about. There just won't be, right? Because now that book that negative journal, that thing's going to fill up fast, and you will burn multiples of those well before you do just about anything else. So this is to understand, but it's only as good. All of these tools and any tools I or anybody else on this planet gives you is only as effective as you utilize this. You don't get to do it once or twice and be like, it's okay. You're doing it with an expectation. Stop doing anything with an expectation. Anything. Don't go to the gym to work out to lose weight. Don't do that. You go because in that moment, you're committing to something for your body that in the long run, may be better for your health, but in that moment, it's keeping you functioned. So that's why staying present is the key, and that's why this is great for that. Next and last, I'm going to talk to you about the mood journal.